Hello, lovely people. It's time to rise up and fuel our minds. I'm Coy Wire. This is CNN 10. It's Thursday. Happy Friday Eve. Can you believe this is the penultimate show of the year, the second to last one before CNN 10's summer break? I'm going to miss y'all, but I'm going to keep posting food for thought on my @CoyWire social accounts, stuff like #Random Thought Thursday. Now, if you know the answer to this one, keep it to yourself. We'll reveal the answer at the end of the show. Here we go. There are 30 cows in a field, 28 chickens. How many didn't? Think about it. All right, let's go. Here we go. Starting today in the Pacific Ocean, in the U.S. territory of Guam, where officials say they're experiencing the worst storm in decades. Typhoon Mawar has been slamming the island with heavy rain and strong winds reaching speeds equivalent to those that a Category 4 hurricane would bring. Now, did you know that typhoons and hurricanes are actually the same weather phenomenon? The difference is purely geographical. Hurricanes are in the North Atlantic and Northeast Pacific Oceans. Typhoons, like Mawar, well, they're in the Northwest Pacific. These scenes from Guam are scary. The National Weather Service has warned that the storm could bring 15 to 20 inches of torrential rain or more. This can result in landslides and flash flooding throughout the island. According to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, maximum sustained winds were up to 140 miles per hour with gusts up to 165. It's like being subjected to tornado-like wind speeds, but for long periods of time. Most of the island has lost power, but thankfully, at the time of this recording, no deaths have been reported to CNN. President Joe Biden approved an emergency declaration for the island on Tuesday, and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, announced it has more than 50 emergency relief personnel and dozens of other federal partners ready to provide emergency assistance on the ground. Guam is home to about 150,000 people, including several U.S. military installations. Now, while Guam sits in the West Pacific Ocean, an area that's prone to the world's strongest tropical cyclones, it's actually extremely rare for the island to be struck directly by a storm of this strength. Only 8 such storms like this have passed over this 30-mile wide island in the last 75 years. 10-second trivia. Think fast. What part of the brain is most closely linked to thinking and reasoning? Brainstem, cerebrum, cerebellum, or hypothalamus? If you're thinking cerebrum, oh synapse, I think neuron to something. Cerebrum for the win. Neuroscientists at the University of Texas say they figured out a way to read minds by translating scans of brain activity into actual words using the very same artificial intelligence technology that powers ChatGPT. Now, does this mean that we could possibly communicate with someone who's unable or even unwilling? Pop quiz hotshot, how do brains say hi? Brainwaves, Ardonio Sullivan has more.
You're reading people's minds.
So we don't like to use the term mind reading.
These neuroscientists at the University of Texas in Austin say they've made a major breakthrough. They've figured out how to translate brain activity into words using artificial intelligence.
These are different images.
Earlier this month, they published a paper explaining how they had research volunteers listen to audio clips while having their brains scanned by an fMRI machine. Over time, AI algorithms, the very same tech that's behind ChatGPT, were able to figure out what the volunteers were listening to just by watching their brains.
It is just crazy. You can watch how blood flows through the brain, and using AI and GPT and everything else, translate it into words.
Yeah, it's wild that this works when you put it that way.
Thumbs up, Donies.
To test it all out, Professor Alexander Hoot and I had our brains scanned while listening to parts of the Wizard of Oz audiobook.
If I only had a brain.
All right, Danny, we have a picture of your brain.
I have a brain.
Yep, it looks good.
I was scanned first, followed by Professor Hoot, capturing images of the changes in our brain's blood flow as we listened to the words from the audiobook and showing how our brains interpreted those words.
When she had finished her meal and was about to go back to the road of yellow brick, she was startled to hear a deep groan nearby.
You can see that we're getting recordings every 2 seconds while he's listening to a story. We will feed this data through our decoder and try to predict the story that he's currently listening to.
The next morning, the results were in.
Okay, so it's been 24 hours since we got our brain scanned. You can confirm I have a brain.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
So we were able to decode some stuff from my brain, not so much from yours. So this is one from my brain. This is from The Wizard of Oz. So on the left side is the actual words that I heard. When she had finished her meal and was about to go back to the road of yellow brick, she was startled to hear a deep groan nearby. And the decoded version of this is on the right. It's, I was about to head back to school and I hear this strange voice calling out to me. So it gets some things right. So this like was about to go back, was about to head back. It completely misses some things, like the road of yellow brick versus school. But then it gets this, this nice kind of example. So she hears something, and then instead of a deep groan nearby, it said a strange voice calling out to me. It means something related, even if it's not exactly the right words.
Still pretty incredible to think that was about to head back as something that just by scanning your brain.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that's really surprising to us about this. It can get things like that. It can get these entire phrases of exact words.
Now, so we expected mine not to be great.
Because we haven't trained the model on you.
The reason it wasn't able to decode my brain was because the technology currently needs people to sit in the fMRI machine for more than 16 hours, so the AI models can train on specific people's brains.
Are we going to live in a world where, you know, I can walk by somebody on the street and they'll be able to hold something up to my head and they'll know what I'm thinking?
Currently, we're very far from that. That might also never be possible. We can't completely rule it out, but as far as we know, that certainly won't be possible in the next few decades. The real potential application of this is actually helping people who are unable to speak without them needing to get neurosurgery.
Now we have this like snapshot of the brain. And
Jerry Tang explained how they used OpenAI's GPT large language model to help decode the brain. The GPT model is made up of millions of pages of text from the internet that the AI trains on and learns how sentences are constructed and how people talk and think.
GPT basically made our predictions a lot better.
But it doesn't just work listening to audio. Professor Hoot showed us what happened when he watched a movie with no sound while his brain was scanned. Watch as the technology is able to decode what his eyes are seeing.
She then took my hand and held it to her lips. She kissed it. I smiled, and she pulled me in for a hug. I got her back for about hours. I had to stop the bleeding and gave her my shirt to put over it. It's pretty good. I don't know, it's a pretty good description of what was happening here.
Wow. Should we be scared by the work people like you are doing?
We think it's really important to continually evaluate the implications of brain decoding and also to start thinking about enacting policies that protect mental privacy and regulate what brain data can be used for.
Mental privacy, a rather dystopian term, but ones that we're going to be getting more used to as we enter this age of artificial intelligence. Back to you.
To all of our band members and musicians out there, imagine you're practicing, you're playing with your crew, and all of a sudden, a music superstar crashes your jam session and starts jamming with you. Well, Ed Sheeran, you get today's 10 out of 10 for making a Florida high school's band practice unforgettable. And then, giving even more of a surprise.
I thought I'd come and play some songs for you. I've also brought some guitars to give to you guys from the music department. Playing a sold-out stadium tomorrow, but I've got tickets for all of you guys to come. I found a love.
Sheeran sang his hit song called Perfect, and it was perfect. Some students tearing up, it was so beautiful. Oh, Ed took photos and even signed some instruments. He performed a duet with one of the students too. And how about the sweet note he left? Love you guys. That's sweet. And love to you too. And mahalo, or thanks to everyone like Mrs. Santiago's class in Hawaii who've subscribed to our CNN 10 YouTube channel. Our school shout out is going to Lake Stevens High School in Lake Stevens, Washington. And Mr. Heyman, happy birthday to you. And now for that Random Thought Thursday. There are 30 cows in a field, 28 chickens. How many didn't? Well, if you know the answer, shout it out. Go ahead. Answer is 10. 30 cows, 28 chickens. That means 10 didn't. It's mathematical and grammatical, y'all. Send your random facts or questions at KoiWire on Insta, Snapchat, and TikTok, and use the hashtag RandomThoughtThursday. Have an awesome day, everyone, and rise up. I'm KoiWire, and we are CNN 10.